Arman Tsarukyan is out. Renato Moicano is in. This is breaking news ahead of UFC 311 this Saturday night. We all know the scenario. Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan 2. Well, guess what? That is not going to happen now because Renato Moicano will step in for Arman Tsarukyan again as he pulled out. I don't even know why he pulled out, but I know he pulled out. And we got the prediction already for you for Makhachev versus Moicano. Stay tuned.
Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the TCMMA Podcast with your host, Chris Cross.
Whoa!
Dana White privilege.
Let's go, baby! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, baby!
Dana White privilege. Privilege. Privilege.
What up? It's your boy Chris Cross checking in. This is a TCMMA podcast. We are live. We gotta be, right? We gotta be live because huge news ahead of UFC 311, and that's that Arman Tsarukyan is out. And I know everyone right now, I see the comments. We're getting there. I know everybody's weighing in today because UFC is in the news today in a big way. And I know everyone's probably like, man, I wanted to see that fight. I was excited about the fight, and I was too. But I'm even more excited about Renato Moicano getting the opportunity. Here's why. We were just getting ready to see a grappling match. And that's fine, you know. But the last time these two fought, it was 14-13 in significant strikes, right? It's going to be all control time, and maybe Arman pulls it out. Who knows? I think Islam wins that fight, but it wouldn't be easy. And it would definitely be highly interesting because they're both way better than they were in the first fight. Right? I mean, you know, they're 4 or 5 years older. So, but at the end of the day, Money Moicano gets to step in. And this is going to be big time. Big. When a guy gets an opportunity like this, you don't take it lightly. Now, looking at the chat room, you got 49ers Faithful Forever says, this stinks in my opinion. Back injury. Okay. See, I didn't even... Someone left me a comment and I jumped on the podcast real quick. I don't even know why Arman's out. I didn't really care to even look. I had to get right to the future. So I appreciate that. 49ers Faithful Forever. Much love there. Colostrum. Now we know what Arman's secret move was. I know, right? 49ers Faithful. Told Dana he had back soreness from an injury. Don't like that it's one less fight now, though. Yeah, and you know what? I mean, I don't either, but the way, you know, when we're doing the watch party and we're doing all the fights, whenever there's 14 fights, it's always more difficult, like last week too, because the UFC, if you look at their timing, right, like in the prelims of UFC 311 this week, there's usually 4 fights in 2 hours, so 30 minutes apiece, right? When they try to fit like 8 fights in 3 hours, and now you got like 22, 23 minutes apiece, those fights are rolling through, man. It's really hard for us to keep up when they do that. So for me personally, I'm not too down that it's 13 fights instead of 14. I mean, that still means you're going to have, 5 in the early prelim, so they're going to try to get 5 fights in 2 hours. But at the same time, I'm just really excited about this fight, man, and really excited about this prediction, right? Because it can go either way. I mean, you know, we got Islam number 4 on the do list, so we like Islam Makhachev dearly. I mean, the only guys above him are Pereira, John Jones, and Hamza Chimaev. So, you know, Islam's the guy. And but Renato Moicano, you can't count out a Brazilian, and you can't count out a guy that gets an opportunity that he knows he might never get again, right? Renato Moicano may have never got another title fight. Could. He's you know, on that trajectory right now, right? But he may not ever get there, and now you get thrusted into the situation. Don't count this guy out, man. And he's Brazilian. You guys know how I feel about the Brazilians. I mean, anything can happen here. So let's jump right into the prediction. We just got this done. Didn't even post it yet. You're seeing it first right here. So let's dive into it. This is Islam Makhachev versus Renato Moicano. In the lightweight division for the lightweight division title at UFC 311. You're seeing this right. Islam Makhachev takes on Renato Moicano, as Arman Tsarukyan has pulled out. And this is about as short as notice as you can get, but luckily Renato Moicano was set to take on Beneil Dariush, so he is ready to go. So let's get into it. Makhachev 26-1, the champ, taking on the Brazilian. That's the key word, ladies and gentlemen. Brazilian. Moicano is 20-5. Moicano 1 inch taller at 5'11". He's 35. Okay. Still right there, right outside the prime window, but he's still in his prime, I'd say. Makhachev right there at 33. Moicano 1 inch reach advantage, 72-71. He fights right-handed. Makhachev fights southpaw or left-handed. Money Moicano, 4.4 significant strikes per minute to 2.7 for Islam, but you know Islam has a takedown game, more than one takedown on average per round. Moicano lands like 2 every 3 rounds, so not bad. Islam, 90% takedown defense. Moicano, 72%. That's not bad, but will that hold up? Islam, as we discussed, leading up to the Arman Tsarukyan fight. I mean, he beat Dustin Poirier last time out by submission, beat Volkanovski twice, once by KO, most recently in the first round, first time by decision. He's had 9 takedowns in the last 3 fights. So that's the key. 9 takedowns in the last 3 fights, and this is what we've become accustomed to. Now, Volk did outstrike him in the first fight, but after that, he led 24-4. He had enough. He put him away quick. Poirier 88-74 in significant strikes, 5-0 in takedowns. So Moicano has won 4 in a row, right? That's why he's on the big stage, beating Brad Riddell, submission, Drew Dober, decision. That's a tough fight. Jalen Turner, KO. That was a big one. Benoit Saint Denis, KO. So now, you know, he's right up there with Dustin Poirier. I mean, you know, this guy is capable of finishing people. And I remember, you know, when he was KO'd by the Korean Zombie back in the day, I was like, that was one of the best KOs I've seen at that point in time. And it seemed like Money Moicano was done. I mean, he would go on to lose to Rafael Fiziev by KO, RDA by decision, dominated there, 5 takedowns to none. So it's not going to be an easy situation, but this is a tough fight for Islam Makhachev because all of a sudden you got a different opponent, different game plan. This guy is more of a striker, but you can take him down and control him that way. I think it's going to be very interesting, but listen, ladies and gentlemen, I can't go against Renato Moicano. Forget about it. This is a bad dude. I can't go against Islam Makhachev. Forget about it. I mean, this guy's a bad dude. It's just the bottom line, right? Moicano is a bad dude as well, but not on the same level as Islam. Now, if he wins, I'm going to be jumping around, going crazy, tell you how dumb I was, for lack of better words, to go against a Brazilian, right? But Islam right now is surged to a 12-1 favorite, but everybody's going to be tuning in to see Renato Moicano going into a fight, and all of a sudden you're thrusted into the main event for the title. Money Moicano is going to be pumped up, and anything is possible. I will tell you that in this fight, anything is possible. If Islam can't dominate the ground game, certainly Renato Moicano can strike with the best of them. So keep that in mind as this fight goes on. But we got Islam Makhachev, number 4 on the dude list, winning the fight here, keeping the belt, lightweight division, main event, UFC 311. And you know what? You got to give it up to Islam too, because, you know, it's not guaranteed that he's going to fight, right? Dana White had to go ask him. He could easily say no. But Islam, and not that I quote, I'm paraphrasing, I'm the champ. And the champ is basically always ready to fight against anybody. On one day's notice, the champ is taking on a different opponent who is very capable of beating him. Renato Moicano can lose fights, obviously, but he can win any fight against any person on the planet with one punch. And that's why I like this fight. Now, yeah, Islam is probably going to dominate him on the ground, but at the same time, again, Money Moicano could land one punch and finish a fight at any time against anybody. So that's why I'm excited about this fight. That's why I'm excited. And the time is now. to see what happens. I just can't. It's unbelievable that this is happening at the last minute in the main event. Total surprise, but my heart's pumping. I'm excited, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Quite frankly, I mean, I really cannot wait to see what's going to happen. Sir Forever says Islam by submission first round. Very possible, but and listen, his takedown game and grappling skills is superior to anybody. But what I will say is Moicano has decent takedown defense. That's the first thing I noticed, and he's Brazilian, which I always say, at worst, they're average to good on the ground, right? So maybe he can stack up with Islam here. Probably not, but maybe. And that's kind of why we're going to watch now. I mean, we're going to want to see what's going to happen. 49ers faithful was 15 minutes before weigh-ins, laugh out loud. Yeah. And what that, you're right. And what that means is Moicano, which may not seem like a big deal, but it is, can't weigh in at 156, right? He's got to weigh in at 155. And does anyone know if he already weighed in? I mean, I'm going to try to look this up. Did Moicano already weigh in? Because we got to make sure that he made weight. I'm sure if all this news is coming out, he probably did make weight, or else we would definitely know by now. But still, it's a different situation when you got to make weight. And I'm not seeing any results yet for Islam Makhachev and Moicano. Oh, here we go. Okay, Moicano made weight. 154.5 for Makhachev, 155 for Moicano. We got a title fight on our hands. And you see, I'm just getting off work. I don't even know what's going on with all the weigh-ins and all that stuff until right now. So I appreciate y'all getting into the chat room, keeping us up to date on anything we don't know. It takes a minute just to get the live stream pulled up and get set up and all that. So I didn't have time to go research anything other than see someone's chat or a comment, look it up, and I'm like, boom, it's on. Let's get the prediction done. Let's get on it. 49ers faithful, just in case. Dana said he was the backup fighter, so he made the weight. Okay, I gotcha. Super late notice. We are lucky we got any event, for sure. Hamza Boris Chamayev superfan says, crazy. Moicano time. Money Mike, baby. Not Money Mike. Money Moicano. Money Mike, baby. Money Moicano. What's he going to do? What is he going to do? And my first thought was like, this is great. And then I'm like, oh man, every video that I have is Islam versus Tsarukyan too. And I got to go back in every video and change the tags and all. Oh my goodness. But at the same time, I'm super excited. I know the UFC fan base is, once they, are like, darn, I really want to see that fight. And they come to realize, okay, now we get Moicano. Yes, Islam is a huge favorite, but that don't mean he's necessarily going to win. And I'll take a striker with decent takedown defense, quite possibly a good ground game, not necessarily to match up with Makhachev, who may just submit him in 2 minutes, who knows. But hopefully good enough to be able to, stay alive on the ground through the first round. Get opportunities to be on the feet 2 or 3 times. And if you're Moicano, yeah, you got to be worried about the takedowns, but you're getting a title shot. I'm just going for the KO. Even if I give up a takedown, I know you can't go in there with Makhachev and be worried about takedown. He's coming regardless. Okay, he's coming. Just like Khabib, he's coming. You got to go in there and get the finish as quick as possible and try to land a big shot before he can even get the takedown. Easier said than done, but that's how you beat Makhachev, if it's even possible. King Terzi, if Moicano wins, what happens next? Arman Charles rematch, 5 rounds now. If Moicano wins, immediately Islam gets the rematch because he took the fight on 1 day's notice, so there's an out there. He won't use that as an excuse, but that'll be the excuse to get him a rematch immediately. So you already know if Moicano wins, that rematch is happening. The lightweight division is on hold for 6 months and quite possibly throughout the rest of the year. Then you start to look at the rest of the division. Yeah, Arman versus Charles. Charles already has a fight set up. For the life of me, I can't remember who it's against, so he's got to win that fight. And then we go from there. But this opens up, if Moicano wins, it changes everything in the sense that it just puts the division on hold because Makhachev will get a rematch. Cocoa Butter says, I like to see Moicano steal it. And I like that you use that word steal. Cocoa Butter, I like that you use the word steal. Because when the contender wins the belt, I always say they stole the belt. And people get crazy when I say that. What do you mean stole the belt? He didn't steal the belt. He won it fair and square. No, I'm saying when the contender wins, we're always surprised because you're facing a champion. So when you're the contender and you win the belt, as Cocoa Butter said, that's my backup. Okay. So for now on, when y'all get on me, I'm going to say Cocoa Butter says so. Okay. Cocoa Butter said, I like to see Moicano steal it. And that's what I'll say if Moicano wins the belt. He stole the belt. Because most people are expecting Islam to win. Most people are expecting the champion to win. And when you hear and new, to me, that means the belt was stolen because they always say in fighting, you got to beat the champion. You can't tie the champion. You're going to lose. You got to beat the champion, and therefore you steal the belt, in my opinion. 49ers faithful, I would love to see Moicano pull it out somehow. I know in the back of my mind, as much as I like Islam, I'm like, God, I would like to see Moicano beat him. Then we get the rematch, and basically nobody else is fighting for the lightweight title until 2026. That's what that means. If Moicano wins, the lightweight division is on hold until we get an ultimate winner between the two, and that will carry us through 2025 because that fight won't happen until June, July, August for sure. Hamza Boris Chimaev superfan says Islam's fourth fight in short notice. You're right. Volk, Moicano, Hooker, Green. Dang. That's how you become a legend, man. Great fact right there. Sounds like everyone wants Moicano to win. On the prediction, I'm like, Islam's going to win, right? That's Islam. He's number 4 on the dude list. We're not going against that. Islam wins the fight. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, God, I'd like to see Renato Moicano steal the belt. We have seen this all before, he says. The guy with nothing to lose always fights hard, whether he wins or not. I know. And who is the one, and was it on short notice? Gosh, man, Khabib fought, what was his name? And it ended up, everyone thought it was going to be an easy fight. I don't remember if it was short notice, but it went the distance, I'm pretty sure, really late in the fight. And Khabib won, but it wasn't easy. And this could be one of these situations because you're right. Al Iaquinta. Yes, sir. Terzi. Yes, sir. Khabib fought Al Iaquinta on day notice. Yes, on one day notice. That was the fight. And Al Iaquinta came in, and it was like he didn't win. And I don't remember how it finished, if it was a decision or a late submission. I'm pretty sure it was a decision, but you're like, man, this thing is a tough fight here. Toughest fight we've seen Khabib have because it's a different opponent. It just changes everything mentally. It's hard to stay mental. Like imagine all of a sudden you're Notre Dame and you're about to face Ohio State for the championship, and they say, oh no, Ohio State can't play. Obviously that's not going to happen, but we're going to put in Alabama, or we're going to put in Georgia, we're going to put in Oregon or someone else. All of a sudden it's a much more difficult situation because there's no way to prepare for it mentally. Yeah, you could tell yourself, oh, it don't matter who we play. We're about to go out there and win. We already prepared for the game. Everything changes. Everything changes, and you can't mentally prepare for that. So Islam is definitely at a deficit with that, but he's proven in the past, like you said, with 4 short notice fights, Volk, Moicano, Hooker, and Green, that he can go out there and what do you do to Green? Took him out in like 2 minutes. Ref had to, ref stopped the fight. I think it was a rear because he was pounding him too, but took him out quick. So, Islam has shown that he's different. He's built different. Hamza Bor says this is even making it Chimaev's win versus Holland even better. Yes, sir. Chimaev did amazing on day's notice versus Holland. And I forgot about that. And that was his fault, man. People were still upset. People were still upset that Hamza didn't fight Nate Diaz, as if that was going to be a fight. He'd have took Nate Diaz out in 30 seconds. But everybody wanted to see it. So people were still upset with him about that. So we might want to skip past that because people start bringing up the bad emotions. You understand, Hamza? Start bringing up the bad emotions. It's like it took Hamza like a year and a half. It really took until the Robert Whittaker victory for him to win a lot of people back because now it's undeniable how good he is, right? Terzi. So do you think Islam follows the same game plan? Go right for early finish? I think so, but he's also thinking, okay, Tsarukyan, it's going to be a grappling battle. Maybe try to defend the takedowns well and keep it on the feet where I got the advantage and finish him like Volk, right? Even though that's a different stylistic matchup. Who knows what the game plan was for Islam? He can say whatever he wants, but I don't know if it's going to be as easy as going, against Tsarukyan as easy as going in like against a Bobby Green and just getting in there and quick submission. That's Arman Tsarukyan, right? But on the feet, maybe he thinks he had an advantage with the power after finishing Volk the way he did and showing that I can do KOs too. I'm not just a submission specialist. I'm built different. I can KO you too. Now you go into the Moicano fight and it's like, well, do I really want to stand and strike against him? That might not end well. I got an advantage on the ground. So now that's what I'm saying. It's the preparation has totally changed. Maybe it hasn't. In his mind, he's going to try to tell himself it's nothing's different, but the situation is way different. Marty Party says, is the news true? Arman out? Yes, he's out. Arman Tsarukyan is out. And people are going to be tuning in and realize that there's a lot of people out there right now that don't even know this has happened. I mean, if you're watching this, you're ahead of the game. I mean, the news is out, right? But if you're a regular working dude, like 99% of us, right? I mean, I work 8, I'm up at 5 in the morning, but I'm going 5 to 5 in the evening. Peek down at the phone and someone says Arman's out, which, listen, all you guys, man, do a great job of leaving comments. I work, like I said, I'm not up on everything. I get caught up when I get caught up. But something like this, you guys are leaving comments. I see it in the comment before I see it in the news. So excellent work by the whole fam on this one. Hamza Bors, imagine buying tickets for the event to see Arman Islam. Yeah, that stinks. That stinks. But we'll never know, right? So this is speculation. But I would be willing to bet that Islam versus Money Moicano would sell more pay-per-views. Maybe. Let me think about that. Yeah, I think it will because I think there's going to be a segment of people who are like, oh my God, this guy's getting an opportunity and he's a striker and he's Brazilian. Anything can happen. And Moicano's got a lot of fans. I think there's some people I think everyone would still tune in, but I think there are a small percentage, say 5-10% of people that are like, it's just going to be a grappling match. 14-13 in significant strikes the last time out. I think you get more viewers on this. I think this thing is going to get hyped up over the next several hours, but especially for the next 24. And by the time 10 p.m. comes, and this is Eastern time, depending on where you're at, but whenever the main event starts where you're at, there's going to be a surge of people that are going to be buying this thing up. And this always ends up turning out better for the UFC, right? Because people like you are looking stuff up right now, me too, and then we get excited. But yeah, so I think people are going to be initially upset, especially if you bought the tickets. But then, boom, it's gonna change to a lot of people jumping on Team Moicano for this one, Team Money. Should we end weight cuts in just natural weight classes? Weight cuts will never end, right? Because even if you added 5 more weight classes right now, every 5 pounds, people are going to still be squeezing down as much weight as they can. And then if they say, you can only lose so many pounds from Wednesday to Friday or whatever it may be. They're just going to come in lighter before they get there, and then that's going to be more of a problem. I just don't see how they ever get around. It's like wrestling. I mean, I remember a kid in high school told me I can't even spit anymore. I have no water in my body. I'm like, dude, you're crazy, man. I can't. I'm always trying. At least not now. I tend to have tougher time keeping the weight off. But I was always growing up trying to get the weight on. I couldn't imagine trying to drop weight. No way. But that's what they do. King Terzi theory that Dana White wasn't getting a ton of pay-per-views. I mean, listen, more noise for sure, which equals more pay-per-views. That's a tough one because I think with Islam, you're getting the pay-per-views, and then you get Umar and Marab. You might be able to sell the pay-per-view with just that, and then you're getting Yuri and Jamal Hill. Yes. And then you're getting Dariush. You were getting Dariush and Moicano, another lightweight fight. Yes. Kevin Holland's on the card against a good fighter, Renier de Ritter. You're tuning in. So I think the card was stacked anyway. I mean, as we get closer to these things, I'm like, man, UFC 311 is stacked. So it hurts losing a fight, but this news is just going to continue to get bigger and bigger. Again, over the next 24 hours. And there's going to be a lot of people starting to push for Moicano, which is going to make a lot of people want to tune in, right? Whenever you have the underdog story. Tsarukyan wasn't an underdog story. People really believe that he could beat Islam, or he's got a much better chance now. So that one was more like, and this is going to be interesting because it's kind of even, but Islam's probably going to win. Now it's like, let's jump on the side of the underdog. The underdog story always gets views. Terzi. Yuri Hill is a banger for sure. I'm expecting UFC 313 announced tomorrow on the broadcast. I know, right? That's the goal. We're going to find out about UFC 313, and I'm surprised it hasn't been announced yet because usually, yeah, maybe they do it on pay-per-view sometimes, but you're never too shy of the next main event, right? So if UFC 311 is happening, we already know 312 and 313. That's always been the trend. So that is getting ready to be announced. I'll be surprised if we go through the watch party tomorrow and that main card isn't announced. Hamza Boer says, Moicano got a title shot before our boy Hamza. I know, man. It's crazy. I know. We couldn't get that luck for like Hamza to be on the same card as Duplessis and Strickland, and then Strickland's got to pull out. And imagine if that happened and Hamza went in, that would be the biggest pay-per-view of all time. I'm just telling you right now. I love you, McGregor, but that would be the biggest pay-per-view of all time. Bombaclat says, if Moicano pulls this off, oh my God. And that's the whole point. You said it. That's why people will be tuning in. 100% right. Marty Party. Pereira hinted fight news this weekend. Please let it be Pereira versus Hamza. Please. Please. Forget Ankalaev, man. Forget it. Cocoa butter. Does this push Talbot to the main card? I think he was the featured prelim. They updated it, but they could switch it around still. So right now, no, they got... No, this makes sense, though, even more. They're going to keep that fight there, and they're going to move Jailton Almeida versus Sergey Spivak to fight 4. That's where Moicano and Dariush was. So now you got Almeida versus Spivak. It's a heavyweight fight. Makes total sense to put it right there. Those names are bigger right now only because it's heavyweight division. Although everybody wants to see Talbot fight, but they want that thing on regular TV. More viewers, for sure. And then Holland and De Ritter will stay at fight 5. So basically, instead of having 5 prelim fights, you're having 4, which is great for me because by the time we get to 8 o'clock or the prelims, it's just a half hour every fight. That gives us a lot of time to post videos, watch party stuff, all that type of stuff. Early prelims, 5 fights. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, so it's just going to be a regular event. Okay, 4, 4, 5. Yep, 13. So perfect. That's right where you want the pay-per-view type card to be. 13 fights is perfect. So 4, 4, 5. Every 30 minutes, you got a fight starting. Every 30 minutes. And I like that because after one fight ends, I do want to see 5 or 10 minutes of talking about the next fight. pumping up the next fight. When there's all these fights, it's great too because it's like fight after fight after fight. But when you're doing videos like me, it gets hard to keep up. So the 30 minutes is going to be beautiful. So yeah, that's the way it looks, that they're sliding up Almeida and Spivak into that position. So we'll take it. The Masters in. There's still hope Strickland pulls out. I hear you. But since Strickland only throws jabs and teeps in fight camp, it's unlikely to get injured doing that. Oh, so you got me excited and then you brought me back down to Master. I hear you though, man. Listen, anything is possible. Hopefully Hamza is always staying ready. But I mean, listen, if he fights for the title, I'm going to be pumped up, but I don't want to necessarily see him get the fight on short notice and find out, hey, you're fighting in 3 weeks and he's not in a proper training camp situation. Because then if he loses, it's going to set him back, you know. But listen, I'll take it though. Marty Party, yeah, they confirmed that is the hour, or that is the order now. Yep, the bout order. Good. What is the final prelim? That should be still Talbot in the final prelim. Yeah, Peyton Talbot versus Raoni Barcelos, which that's an interesting fight. I love when a Brazilian's a major underdog. I love it. Hamza Bors. Hamza is cage side for UFC 312. Okay. If there's one guy I trust on day's notice, it's Hamza. Imagine how scared the opponents are. Yeah, but it's the weight cut is the problem, right? The short notice weight cut would be the problem for Hamza in that situation. The reason why Renato Moicano is good in this situation because he was already weighing in. It's just, you know, there's a little more pressure to get the 155, right? 155 pounds instead of 156. Because when it's not if you don't know this, if it's not a title fight, you can weigh in 1 pound over. But so he's probably planning on weighing in at 156, and that extra pound, they say that every pound lower is like 5 times as hard as the previous pound. So it sounds like, 156, you'll get into it's still, but it's not as much as like Hamza, you know, walking around at 200, 205 and then finding out he's got to get to 185 in like a couple days notice or a week, or he'll do it. But that's also why he missed the first Robert Whittaker fight, because he's just going too hard. And I'm worried that if he does try to deplete his body like that, it's not going to end well. But I still trust that he wins. But I want to see him 100% against Duplessis. Forget Strickland. Marty Party, true, the weight cuts are never easy because his immune system and thyroid issue. Yeah, so he's got to, and this is why you saw him fight so well in the last fight, because his new trainers and coaches got him on the right path, losing weight progressively, not trying to just lose it all. You know, you're still going to have to drop a bunch before weigh-ins, but you want to be slowly getting down there, not like a rush or overtraining too early and then trying to slow down and then speed up again and all this nonsense that they were doing with him. They were letting Hamza run wild. He needs someone to tell him what to do, and that's what's happening. King Terzi. Any other UFC news? Saw Weidman retired on the weigh-in show. Okay, I missed that. I know that was the deal before the last fight, but sometimes these guys change their mind, you know. But yeah, much love to Chris Weidman if that news is true. I guess if you say that's what happened, we'll take your word for it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch all the weigh-in stuff today. Again, I was working, so you know, and then catching this breaking news. But man, I'm super pumped for this fight. I still think Islam wins, but it's much more intriguing because of all the people that are going to be tuning in now, like myself as well as a fan, tuning in and saying, man, let's see what Moicano can do. What if he wins? If he wins, you're going to be like, holy crap, this is the best thing ever, right? So it's going to be highly interesting. It's coming soon, and that's the breaking news today. We wanted to get in here and share it with you. We'll be back over the next 24 hours, breaking this thing down further, discussing other fights. So stay tuned to the channel. If you're not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe, hit the like video, share this video. This is breaking news. This is your boy Chris Cross. This is the TCMMA podcast. Until I see you later, it won't be long because the fights are kicking off in 24 hours. But for now, this is your boy Chris Cross. Have a great day and God bless. As always, peace.